All right. Good morning. Good morning. How are you guys? It is Thursday. I'm barely here. I don't know what's going on. I'm tired, but we're focused. We're ready. We're going to knock this out. Trooper Steve on patrol, 10 o'clock on the nose. Listen, I'm going to give this as a forewarning because I've been sitting in this spot for quite some time. The topic we're going to cover could be rather controversial in the traffic world when it comes to drivers and bicyclists getting along. From what I've seen before we've gone live, this is not going to go well for a certain group of transporting people who are traveling individuals. Let's use that. So, I'm out here along West Orange Trail in West Orange County today, this morning, specifically along Ocoee Road. I want to show you what we're watching here. So watch this bicyclist go through the stop sign, completely blows it there. Good job there, buddy. And that's what we're covering this morning. I'll figure out the camera work at some point. But that's what we're covering. The idea behind when you're on a trail, what rules apply to you? When you're a bicyclist out and about, what should you be doing? So, that's what we're covering today. And I want to be very clear. My ammunition I am using today is Florida Statute 316.2065. And that covers most 90% plus of bicycle regulations. Okay? I'm also going to say that there are no listed or annotated exemptions in Florida statute that say when you're on a bicycle trail, the rules do not apply to you. But I'm also always going to remind you, as a driver of a vehicle, you have responsibilities that you need to pay attention to. And that is making sure you stop where you're supposed to stop, making sure you're looking for pedestrians and giving right of way to them. But pedestrians, my bicyclists, listen, you just can't come out here doing what you want. And in the past 45 minutes, I've seen exactly that. So my exact location currently, we're going to drive, is along Ocoee Road, right at Ingram Road in the Ocoee area. I've seen their traffic unit out here already doing some motor vehicle traffic enforcement. Pulled over a nice BMW earlier. But we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to observe a few things. I have the nifty top camera set up here for Results 1. Just checking out a nice high-def kind of look here. But I wanted to go over a few things when it comes to being a bicyclist, being out on the roadway, and things like that. So first and foremost, look, roadway positioning. Cyclists have the same rights and duties as a driver of any vehicle. Two different categories, right? The same rights and the same duties. So you have responsibilities as a bicyclist to make sure that you're paying attention out here. You can't just be winging it as you want and just driving around. Lane positioning. If traveling slower than other traffic, you should be as close as practicable to the right-hand curb, all right? Obviously exempt when you're trying to pass things or avoid a hazard. Bicyclists may ride on a sidewalk. We know this, right? But you guys tend to forget, as a bicyclist, you are required to yield to pedestrians. I know it's crazy. So let's watch here as these bicyclists cross over the roadway. It currently says stop. They're supposed to stop, and they didn't, but they're just going to do what they want. And he's just going to cruise on over. Technically, that vehicle has, the van and those cars have the right, but they're stopping. So they're yielding to that bicyclist. Both parties there did the right thing. Both parties came to the stop, allowing the bicyclist the right of way to continue. I like that. That was a good one. Coming up here on our left side, bicyclist cruising. Mind you, there is a stop sign in front of Results 1. As this bicyclist is cruising here, they're supposed to stop. They didn't, and they continue against the traffic signal that says you are not supposed to cross yet. That's part of the problem here, guys. I love being outdoors. And Are bicyclists fighting a battle that is constantly against them? Absolutely. Are there drivers that do not respect pedestrians and bicyclists? Absolutely. Is it majority a driver issue? Yes, it is. But when we come out here and we observe things like this and you're setting yourself up for failure, this is not how you do it. You must obey all the traffic signals. Because when a crash happens, what's going to happen? The uproar is going to be insane. Oh my gosh, the car should have seen it. As long as you're following the rules, everything's fine. So what do we have here along the trail? You have stop signs that are posted all over the place. Right here in front of Results 1, center of the screen, there are pedestrian trail crossing stop signs that stop you before you go ahead and cross any roadway out here. And then you have the electronic pedestrian signs out here that override everything. So if that says stop, you're not supposed to cross. Even when you're on a trail. I know for some of you guys, you're like, my gosh, I'm on a trail. I'm supposed to stop. Are you kidding me? Yes, there's no joking here. This is real serious stuff. You come out here to have a great day. You come out here to relax a little bit. And I don't want to go into the bushes. That's why Results 1 is yelling at me. To have a relaxed day. And then you come flying over an intersection. Ultimately, what's going to happen? A driver is going to get upset. You're going to have some road rage situation. Or worst case scenario, guys, you're going to get into a crash. And that's the last thing I want to see happen. All right? So watch these guys violate the stop. Look at them right across. Right across. Those are our clowns of the day. There's the first clowns we're going to give this morning. Official clown. Like, I had a green light initially, but I was going to yield because we're paying attention, and I'm not about to whop somebody in Results 1. And yet they sped up to get across. Why? Why we got to do that? All right. So for those joining us this morning, we're out here along the West Orange Trail talking bike safety. Bike safety along the West Orange Trail. So traffic signals and stop signs. Bicyclists must obey all traffic control devices. Stop signs, all of it. Yield signs. If it's there, you must obey it. Even if the trail that intersects with roads and roadways, just like what we see out here along the West Orange Trail. Meaning, before you cross the roadway, as a bicyclist, if there's a stop sign there, you're required by law to obey that. You would technically be making a violation of traffic law by failing to yield or stop prior to crossing that roadway. I know you're on a trail. And when you're on the trail, it's yours. But anytime you're crossing over the public roadway, you're no longer on that trail, and you have to obey the same rules of the road as a vehicle. I know, for some of us, that's hard to digest. But when you're out here, you're spending all this money on safety equipment. You've got a really expensive bike. You're staying in shape. You're taking care of yourself. I'm going to be the one to tell you, if you're not out here obeying the rules and trying to be safe, then what's the point in doing all the other mess? Because you're just going to come out here and end up hurting yourself or hurting somebody else. So we're making our way a little further south along the West Orange Trail. We're going to head to a different location that's just south of where we were sitting here. Another parking spot that we can observe and take a good little peek of what's going on. So we are currently in Ocoee. I love driving out here. West Orange County, really, really just nice part of town here. All right, so we are almost there. We're going to cross over 429. So very busy area if you think about it, right? The portions of where the West Orange Trail does cross over public roadway, highly commuted. You're thinking Winter Garden, 429, Ocoee, all of West Orange County. This area gets very busy, man. People honking at each other this morning. Need to freshen up the coffee a little bit. We're going to continue right over here because the trail is going to intersect. We will be there in 3 minutes. So some of the things that we already talked about, obviously bicyclists, you are required to obey all traffic laws when you're out and about. You just can't pick and choose. You're also required to have that required safety equipment. White front light, visible up to 500 feet. A rear reflector or red light, visible to 600 feet. And of course some working brakes, helmet laws. So something to remember too, you've heard me say it, motorcyclists, drivers, you're not allowed to have 2 headphones in. I have one, so I could hear my Lifeline Kathleen, but you always got to leave one empty. Same thing applies for bicyclists. A lot of bicyclists don't think that to be true. I'm here to tell you, you are in violation of the law if you have headphones in both your ears as a bicyclist. So we're going to go a little further south here towards the trail. All these food spots so early in the morning, my goodness. And we're going to observe one more spot this morning. You can see there's a lot of construction also going on, so you got to be really, really careful when you're commuting around, just to kind of take it easy and always be aware of your surroundings when you're out and about. So it looks like the construction for this roadway has our entrance kind of closed at the moment, so we'll make our way to a different spot. If you're joining us this morning, we're going over proper procedures, and if you were in the beginning of the stream, we saw a few people try to cross the trail area, and the way that they were doing it on their bicycle just wasn't working out too well. You are required to make sure hold on guys, I'm trying to find an entrance to the trail and I just can't find it this morning. I do believe there is a crossing right over here to my left-hand side. There is a crossing. We're going to get to observe it a little bit. So this right here is one of the big crossings of the trail here, and you can see it has a traffic light, which is actually really, really interesting that you would see something like that. So that means there is a designated portion of the roadway, big portion, that it crosses over. So you got to be really, really careful. I'm trying to find another crossing area, and I have one that we're going to go to where it would be a little busier. So obviously the big takeaway of this, right? When you are on a trail, understand there are no exceptions when you're on a bicycle trail. What am I talking about? When you're on a bicycle trail and you are getting ready to cross a roadway, an access driveway, or anything like that, you as a bicyclist are required to yield. Now, if you're getting there first, obviously that car is required to yield to you, but you cannot just go out into the intersection, especially if it's a controlled intersection by a traffic light. You technically would be violating that traffic light if you begin to violate the hand signal, if it's telling you not crossing and you're crossing that. What are you doing, right? And what do you expect to happen? That's the big takeaway. We are currently cruising through the Ocoee area, trying to find the extra crossing that we were just on a second ago. I lost track of it. Took a hard turn on me, and then we lost visibility. So we're just going to continue up here along Claricone, Ocoee, give you a better shot of what's going on this morning as we're cruising around there. Results one nice and clean. but 316, 2060, what was that statute? 2065 covers everything you need to know. So take a dive into that. You'll understand a little bit more, but ultimately, the people who are just running over roadways on a trail, on their bicycle, you're doing it wrong. And I'm here to tell you, you're end up going to get hit or a ticket about it. So let's stop doing that. I want to try to observe one more intersection before we wrap this up. So if you hear me taking some pauses here, that's the only reason. A slight loss for words, because we were at a good portion of the trail. I thought we were going to intersect it again. And it didn't work out for us. This car is like all up on me here. Like, back up, dude. Okay, trail. Here we go. Up on my left-hand side. And then you do have sidewalks on both sides of the roadway, but today we're specifically, that's a hard word to say at this hour, talking about the trail. I'm going to slide over to the left lane so we can get a better look. All right, there's the trail off to our left-hand side. You can see some bicyclists out here this morning, just cruising around a little bit. I will say, every bicyclist I've seen, they have helmets on. They have lights on their bike, and it's what, 10:10 in the morning, and they're out here just doing their thing. This is going to be a good spot that we're going to cut off into right here. So we're going to pull into the Arden Park area and set up here just for a moment, because I need to make a U-turn. And so this is what happens when you don't come out to a COE often. You think Arden Park is a park. No, it's a residential community. So we're just going to get turned around real quick here. There we go. Don't want to show the gate or any of their fancy stuff, I guess. All right, so we're going to come out here and watch the entrance. I don't know why I'm whispering like we're hunting something, but I want to show you how this works. Until a car comes up behind me, we're going to sit here just for a second. Watch this. So we're watching Claricona Coe Road out here at an intersection over at Arden Park. Ultimately, what we want to see is people come to a stop at a stop sign. People come to a stop and yield on their bicycles. It's most likely not going to happen. And at this intersection, you know, it's almost like a dealer's choice. Not much traffic out here this morning. This is great. People are doing what they got to do. Instead of me beating around the bush, we're going to wrap this up. The takeaways. If you're on a trail and you are a bicyclist, all the rules apply to you as would a vehicle when you're crossing a public roadway. You cannot just shoot across the roadway because you don't see any cars. You're required to stop. There are stop signs present at a lot of these crossings, and there are things that you must obey. And then secondary, you do still have the pedestrian hands out there, the digital signs that are telling you stop or when to walk. Well, guess what? Those apply to you as well. I love a trail, but I also like being safe because I like continuing to ride on those trails. You should do the same thing, guys. Have a great day. Enjoy the weather. I'll see you later.